today's live stream, we're just going to answer a couple email questions, a couple questions that we got from Instagram and Twitter, and also some questions that we got from some of the comment section. So I figured we maybe try to do a live stream maybe a couple times a week. We can just answer some questions, some emails. So if you guys do have future questions and emails, then hit us up on, Instagram or Twitter. Leave us some comments here on the videos, or just shoot us an email. And we'll try to address that during the course of the week. So just real quick, hit up one quick email that we got from Mr. Raf Radikowski. His question is, hi Shane, just wondering if you turn up the decibels, the dB on your Atmos channels. I use the KEF Q50A's top front and in-ceiling speakers. However, I find top fronts a bit harder to hear compared to the rears. So I've decided to add about 5 dB at 3.5 millimeter distance. It's hard to get a good compromise, as sometimes this sounds a bit blown out in different films. Thanks, champ of the channel. So his question is, he has a hard time hearing his top front channels for Atmos soundtracks. Well, the thing is, that's one of those things that I kind of play around with as well. Like sometimes I can't hear what's going on up top, so I might kind of bump it up maybe 1 or 2 dB. But if I'm doing like a review, then I'll keep everything all level matched. So if everything is kind of matched at 75 dB, then I keep it that way, because I'm assuming that they're mixed at a reference level. So if it's kind of hard to hear up top, then I can safely assess that maybe it's just kind of mixed lower. So I'll say in the review, it's kind of hard to hear something coming up from up top. Like if I'm watching Avengers Infinity War, which I thought was really light up top, I mean, I could artificially, bump up the levels to make everything come out a lot stronger, a lot louder, but, just to give a nice honest review about it, if, everything is mixed correctly and that your levels are matched correctly, then I can safely assume that volume is just low in the high channels. So, I mean, for me personally, if I'm doing a review, then I'll keep everything at reference level. But if I'm at home just trying to enjoy a movie by myself and I can't really hear much, then I might just go in and just bump up the high channels a bit more. But then you kind of find that if it is kind of mixed lower and you're really just bumping it up, then it can sound a bit overblown sounding, because it's not meant to be heard super loud. So if you're really bumping it up to excessive levels, then you're kind of really over exaggerating in those high channels. So, I mean, safest bet is to maybe just bump it up maybe 1 or 2 dB. Mess around with that. Otherwise, just keep it at reference level, because sometimes it might just be mixed that way for a specific reason. Maybe you're just hearing the back speakers because something's happening in the back rather than happening up front. So that's my answer to that question. This is audio. It's one of those things. Like, I'm always messing around with high channels. I'm always messing around with the subwoofer. A lot of the Marvel movies, sometimes they just have low bass. I bump up the bass, the subwoofer here and there. But like I said, if I'm doing a review, then I'll try to keep everything steady at one reference level. That way I can give you a true assessment of what the sound actually sounds like on a calibrated audio system. But thanks for the question, Raf. Another question we got from Ali Pazuki, rather. This question is from Instagram. His question was, hi SpareChange, I'm deciding to buy a 5.1 channel receiver that supports 4K at 60 Hz HDR and Dolby Vision. The audio formats that are supported are True HD and DTS HD. So what will happen when I put a 4K disc that supports Atmos, even though my processor can't handle it? Alright, so if you buy a 5.1 receiver that has 4K HDR and Dolby Vision, I'm just going to assume that it would probably have Dolby Atmos built in. I'm not sure if you can get a receiver that does that without having Atmos. But I mean, I don't know why you just buy a 5.1 channel receiver without having Atmos and DTS built in. Receivers can be had for like $200. You can buy an Onkyo for like $200 that has Atmos and DTS X built in. So I mean, the reason that you're going for 5.1 kind of doesn't make sense for me, but I suppose if that's what the route that you're going to go to. If you're buying a receiver without Atmos or DTS-X, if you're watching a movie with Atmos and DTS-X, you're just going to get True HD So Atmos is kind of a container which is found inside the True HD stream. So if your processor can't decode it, you're just going to get straight True HD. And if your receiver or preamp can't decode DTS-X, you're just going to get your standard DTS HD. So you're safe either way if you're watching Atmos on an older processor or receiver. So that's the answer to that. Thanks for the question, Ali. One more question from, actually got two more questions. Another question from Philip Sizer. This is on Instagram as well. Are there huge differences between an AV receiver and combination of an amp preamp? Is it worth it to go from an X6500 to a Rotel? Well, the big difference between a receiver and a combination amp and preamp is basically nothing. A combination amp preamp is a receiver minus the tuner. So that's kind of like an integrated, what you'd call an integrated amp. Usually integrated amps don't have a tuner built in for whatever reason, but same thing. And also, is it worth it to go from a 6500 to a Rotel? Well, the 6500, the Denon 6500 is a receiver, and you want to go over to a Rotel, which I'm assuming the Rotel you're talking about is the RAP 1580, which is their only kind of equivalent. They call it an integrated processor, which is an amp, which is basically a receiver. There's still a tuner in it, so I don't know why they call it integrated processor, but I'm assuming you're talking about the 1580. 60. That's a tough one. That's a tough one there. I mean, the 6500. It's a mainstream. Denon's a big mainstream brand, so you really get good support. You're probably gonna find that a lot of the, the technical small little bugs and all that are gonna be worked out a lot more on Denon receivers since they're bigger brand. They can fix HDMI problems, yada yada. Room correction. The Denon 6500 has room correction. Has Odyssey XT32. The RAP 1580 Rotel doesn't have any room correction. It's got 10-band PEQ for all 11 channels. Sound quality wise, it's gonna be a tough one. For me, if I was going to choose between the Denon and the Rotel, I would go for the Rotel. Personally, I enjoy the sound. I enjoy their power, their amplifiers. You're gonna get better, cleaner power from the Rotel for sure. Decoding, you're gonna have more decoding options with the 6500. I believe that does have Aural 3D, if I'm not mistaken. Other than that, there's gonna just be more features with the 6500. If you just want like want Spotify and all that, you want to have AirPlay, Tidal support, Bluetooth, and everything. The 6500 is gonna give that to you. The Rotel is not gonna give that to you. Rotel is more like a niche brand. They're going to be real basic, bare bones. Their main focus is just on your audio quality, whereas the Denon's more kind of a jack of all trades. So if you don't need all the extra features, I'd say from maybe like a clean power standpoint, sound quality, I'd probably go with the Rotel. But if you do need everything, if you do need multi-room video in different sections of the house, I'm like, what does it have, like 3 zones or something like that? The 6500 that can do audio and video in like 2 zones. Better way to go, but just from like an audio standpoint, I'd probably just do the Rotel. But you gotta weigh in. You have to weigh in your pros and cons for what you're looking for. So thanks for the question, Philip. One more Instagram question from user Sit Jun. Hello, I'm a big fan and love your YouTube channel. I'm currently trying to put together a modest sound system in my bedroom. What soundbar sub setup would you recommend for $1,200? Well, recommending for your sub, he wants to buy a soundbar, good quality soundbar. If you can get it, you could probably get for around $500-600 right now. You can get LG's SK10, which just does Dolby Atmos. If you don't need DTS-X, that's kind of a good deal right now. You could pick up Sony soundbar. They got their 5000, which does Dolby Atmos and DTS-X. That's a great sounding soundbar. The word is they might be trying to integrate back surrounds for that soundbar, and that bar's been out for 2 years now. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. Maybe with one of their Bluetooth speakers or wireless speakers. But that's the word. I heard they're trying to kind of work on that. I mean, that's still a solid option. You could probably have that for around $1,200, maybe a little cheaper. If you don't want to spend that much, you can go for their HTZ9F soundbar, which is kind of like, it's kind of like a Atmos DTSX, and they're using DSP to kind of create phantom channels. Some people like that. I mean, I've had it in here for review. It sounded all right. It sounds all right for a smaller room. So I don't know how big your room is, but those would be kind of my top choices if you want to stay under a certain budget. Under 1,200 is what you said. I know I just recently reviewed the LG SL10, which is $100 more than your budget. That's a good soundbar too. It's going to cost a little bit more if you want to add back speakers, like another $150 more, I think. So you're up around $1,400-1,500. But that's going to drop in price probably like another month or two. So you might want to keep an eye on that one, because the SK10 doesn't do Atmos, but it does. I'm sorry, it doesn't do DTSX, but it does Atmos. But this year's version does do DTSX and Atmos, so you get both. But it is a bit more money though. So unless you want to hold off a couple months to wait for that to drop a couple $100, then that might be the better way to go if you want to get full support from a soundbar. But otherwise, you're looking at SK10 and maybe the HTZ9F from Sony if you want to keep it kind of budget. Oh, let's not forget the Samsung 950. I think that's still like $1,500 though. You might be able to get maybe like an open box deal or something like that through Best Buy, but still kind of money. That's probably one of the better soundbars too, because you do get Atmos rear firing speakers as well. So check out that one. And one last question here. This one actually I got today. This is from Randy Clark. Please help. What means Chromecast built in? Is it same as Chromecast device that can cast Netflix or YouTube from your computer? So Chromecast built in, depending on where Chromecast is built in, if it's built in your TV, then yeah, you can cast from your phone or your tablet to the television. But Chromecast built in on a soundbar is just going to be for audio. So that's an easy one. If it says Chromecast built in, if it's on the TV, yes, you can do audio and video. If it's on a soundbar, then it's just for music. But those are the questions that I got for today. Again, if you guys have questions in the future, email them to us. Hit us up on Instagram if you're not following us on Instagram. We always kind of throw up some nice pictures up there. You can DM us there, send us messages there. Hit us up on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. Send us some Twitter questions. And we'll get to them, some future streams here, which we'll try to do a couple times a week now, just to bang out all these questions and get some Q&A out. Maybe keep you updated on some future projects we got going on.